Thank you very much, Mariola Inka, for that session. And thank you, Madam Lucy, also. Interestingly, we would still need you, Madam Lucy Kioko, to still be on ground with us as we are advancing to the panel session. And I also want to believe that we all have been, learning one or two things so far. It's been insightful from the beginning of the session, talking about how we can inculcate, technology accordingly into agriculture, the role of policy making, in agricultural development. And now we just, looked into how integrity is very vital to advancing agricultural needs in Africa. And so we are going on to the panel session right now. I would like us to, play along. We should be having all our speakers in this panel, but apparently we currently have Madam Lucy with us right now. Mr. Moyita Samuel ought to join us, but he's having some, glitches in his side. Hopefully he may join us. So currently we have Madam Lucy Kioko with us at the moment.
Sorry, Toby, can I just say something?
Please go ahead.
I think we would all understand because he has electricity issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think everybody would understand. So he's trying to work on it, but hopefully we'll still have him here.
All right.
Let's hope. And Comfort has internet issues where she is. She was saying the other time that she was literally in the forest. So so please just carry on. I just wanted to clarify that.
All right. That's fine. Thank you very much, Amalewa. All right. So, Madam Lucy Kioko, I hope you are with us, Eva.
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. We are going to be banking on you. So we have some questions we'd like to just, share with you. And then we would love your insights on some of these questions. Having discussed these issues regarding how we can advance agriculture in Africa. So I would like to start from the fact that the focus of this conference is on investment opportunities and accessing funds to expand agricultural enterprises in Africa. And of course, we all know that in recent times, there's been, a focus on tech companies, fintech companies, especially fintech. A lot of funds have been coming in for fintech, into Africa. But here's a question, ma'am. Do you think agricultural enterprises can also attract that same attention and get such amount of funding as well?
Yes, I think so. But the tech companies seem somewhat over the years to have been a lot more compelling, maybe because it's a new space, unexplored, away from maybe the traditional agriculture as we know it, of planting seeds and training farmers, and maybe, I don't know, investors may have gotten a little bit tired of it, but the tech space certainly has been very compelling and has attracted a lot of investment. However, I believe the tide is changing because tech alone cannot do it. So what if you fly a drone over a farmer's field? And in my countries, some fields are as small as a quarter acre, 1 acre. Why would a farmer even pay for a drone when I can walk around? What really is compelling about a drone? How do I use an app as a farmer, and I do not have internet, and I do not have electricity even to charge a smartphone, and I don't even have the money to buy a smartphone. So the traditional sense, and especially SMEs, are beginning to become are gaining the prominence that they need, or the attention they need, to be the the ones that catalyze this, both the supply side of the business and the demand side. Supply side being that they are the ones working, organizing, training, building the capacity of farmers to produce commodities, agricultural commodities, which then are off taken by the SMEs, who are then the ones who apply the technology, use the technology as a tool. Then these products find themselves in the market, either as fresh produce or products that have been processed and added value or exported. And I'm seeing organizations like AGRA, which is a Pan-African organization. You all know AGRA very well. Now really beginning to look at investing in SMEs, ensuring that they get maybe the right investments, the right training, so that they can be strong, then they can catalyze the business. They can catalyze farmer incomes, and when there's money in farmers' pockets, then farmers will then invest in technology. And technology here, I'm talking about both appropriate technology and digital technology. Appropriate technology being a new seed variety, high-performing seed variety, being able to hire a tractor from Hello Tractor so that they can plow their land. They can use maybe a higher quality pesticide or input, knowing that at the end of the day, there's somebody who's going to be able to buy this produce and take it off my hands, and I can make money. And where there is money, farmers will be willing to invest. Therefore, the SME is really the center. AGRA is one of them. I've seen also USAID doing a lot of private sector investment, investing in SMEs. In fact, for example, they have calls in Zambia. I've seen calls for SMEs in Kenya, in West Africa, so that these SMEs are strong. And so they can attract, the tide is changing because everyone is realizing just certain aspects of the value chain or technology will not work on their own. Look at how much money Twiga was able to bring in. Twiga is all about farming. They do use technology, but really the primary business is getting the commodity and then leveraging on technology. Hello Tractor is an SME in agribusiness. It's all about mechanization. But they use technology to ensure that equipment or machinery mechanization in Africa is moving forward. Groups like Tula, who tried, Tula, Isoko, they have tried to be in the space of moving commodity. They have attracted funding. Sometimes it hasn't always gone very as expected, but there is money. Even for the traditional agribusiness to tap into. It's not there yet. It's not as lucrative as tech, but it is getting there. So we just need to position ourselves and make sure you have a good, whether it is an idea, a product, you have proven it, and there is value for those who are investing in you.
Great, ma. Thank you very much for that, ma. And one of the last things you basically said is for agricultural enterprises to position themselves to be able to get access to this funding and all. So in your own advice, how do you think, or what are some of the parameters that agricultural enterprises who are willing to break into the leverage technology to advance, how can they position themselves to really attract actual funding to scale?
You need to show there's value. What is your value proposition? And is that value real? That really is. I like to use this phrase of boiled eggs and graveyards. Now, graveyards is where the technology is already dead and buried. And we have so many examples of people who came into the space and they sold this and that, and people invested, but they died. And then boiled eggs. Are we incubating boiled eggs? You have an idea, but it is dead on arrival, but you still keep flogging it. So what is your value? What is the value that you bring or you're selling to those who you want to invest? And if there is value and you have thought through your strategy, you have proven your idea, and you have a clear roadmap that if I get this investment, this is what I'm going to do specifically, and this is the value I'm going to produce for those who have believed in me and those I am working with, whether it is small, whether it is farmers or those upstream in the other levels of the market. For me, that's it. I don't think there's a secret sauce. That is it. And then be on the lookout for the opportunities that as they present themselves.
Great, ma. Thank you for that, ma. That was quite insightful. I got that perfectly. Where best ways we can position ourselves is first good value, have a great strategy, have idea proofs, have a good roadmap where one would have to pivot into something else, but have a focus and vision in the long term. Thank you so much, and then also always be on the lookout. Thank you for that, ma. Yet again, some young folks, enthusiasts who wants to do some of these things. They're excited, they are gingered to go ahead and make the changes in the agricultural sector in Africa. But in your opinion, man, what are some of the challenges that these entrepreneurs should prepare for or face in the attempt to actually raise money or scale?
As I said, if your idea is not right, nobody will probably want to invest in you. Some of the other challenges include, are you willing to open up as a founder or the innovator? We have founder syndrome, where you think most people want to hold on to their ideas and not open up and let other people bring in new perspectives to your idea. Then whatever innovation, technology approach, does it meet a felt need by the farmers? And that has to be absolutely key. Because you may have an idea, but if it doesn't resonate with the kind of farmer that we have in Africa. For example, I have a problem with apps. We don't have a smartphone penetration in Africa that much. 2, what is the average age of our farmers? It's only now that young people are trying to get into this space. And not even so much as farmers, but the in-betweens. And maybe young people even have challenges accessing the land and the capital and the tools they need to become farmers. So who are you building the technology and the innovation for? Is it just a nice idea you think that has a market, or is it really proven, and does it meet a need? And are you honest enough to acknowledge it could be a boiled egg that you are trying to incubate or hatch? So those are, and then getting capital is a challenge, and especially to test the initial testing of ideas. It requires resources. No one may believe in you, and that may be a challenge. No one may, in the beginning, believe in your idea, either to develop and refine it, and no one may even believe in you to drive it to scale. So those are some of the challenges that I see young people facing as they get into agribusiness, either as traditional agribusiness or the contemporary one in technology and so on.
Thank you so much for that, Ma. And I think what you even hinted earlier, as regards, how they can begin to position themselves to, for exposure to raise funds, is also quite insightful and will also make durable too. And so, still talking about this, from your experience over time, in an attempt for an agricultural entrepreneur to raise funds or look for external funding, when do you think is the best time to, start looking outside or looking externally for funding? Is it at the beginning of the business as it's starting, or just after the business, is ongoing, or basically just focusing on scaling after the business has been fully grounded?
Well, you can look for funding at any stage, even when you have an idea, for you to be able to test and refine it, for you to pilot it, to prototype and pilot it, and scale. But I think the guiding principle should always be, what value am I bringing to those who are investing? And I think at the point where you've proven your concept, I think it is much, much easier to then attract funding. Perhaps the initial bits and pieces, if you have your own financing, which are the principles of business. The initial ones you can self-finance if you can afford to, but maybe the scale up when you have proven your concept and there's a clear maybe business model, there's a clear strategy, and there's a clear way to scale it up. I think that is a point. And we, as young people, we should always be careful, not just to focus on getting in the money in the expense of doing the business. Because raising money, it can be easy, but doing business is hard. And then you are unable to do the business. And once the funding goes, then the business collapses. I don't know the secret sauce, but we have to be very, very careful. So there's a gentleman I like following in Kenya. He says some of these things people call businesses are not businesses. They are NGOs that are raising money in the name of doing business. But the investment is useful, because then these investments can help you to take risks, to invest in risky, maybe research, development, things that are uncertain, product refining, looking for new markets, developing new opportunities. There's a place for it, absolutely. But we must remember the priority and the reason why a business exists is to make money. By all means, look for investment, for grants, for investors, angel investors, impact investors, Series A, Series B, Series C. But use it, leverage on that to build your business, so that when that goes, you actually have a business.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam Lucy. That's quite insightful. And so as we advance, if you have any question, if there are any questions from the participant, please, you can signify or perhaps drop those questions in the chat box so we can take them. Lastly, before we take questions from the audience, is the fact that from your experience or from your own observation of the agricultural sector in Africa generally, is there any sphere within the agricultural sector you are looking at that we should focus on, that is more likely to get funding for expansion or for scaling or for high impact, actually?
I think any good, solid idea will get funding.
Great.
I mean, who knew that Uberizing tractors can be so big? When it started, there was, when Hello Tractor and people like Trotro and whoever was starting, there was a lot of skepticism. But I think it is happening over the years. It's happening. Any idea that meets a real need of the farmers, real need, will scale. And then look out for the pressing world challenges. For example, coping with climate change, which can help us. Financial inclusion has been big, and especially getting the much needed financial services to farmers. Technologies that are able to, or opportunities that are able to get farmers the tools they need as close as possible to them, so that they can utilize them to produce food, which is off-taken. Market access, all these things are still very, very relevant. The real challenges that farmers face. And it has to be realistic. As I said, apps, when farmers don't have smartphones, electricity, and internet, really we are we are not in business. If we are talking platforms that give farmers prices of faraway markets, farmers will not be able to do anything with those, because they cannot even transport the produce to access those markets. We have to be very practical. And when we are practical, I'm sure we will attract, because we'll be solving the real challenges that are facing farmers and that resonate with those who are willing to put money on the table.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's my take. I wish the other panelists were there so that they can also give their perspectives.
Yeah.
Yes, just to add to that, I really also wish they were here,
Same.
because you mentioned something about now, Madam Lucy, you mentioned something about providing services that actually make real impact. And I want to just allude to the work that both Comfort and Samuel are doing. Samuel is reducing post-harvest losses using technology. That's a real need, right? And Comfort, one of the things our organization does, is to provide insurance, right? Insurance to smallholder farmers. So it's like InsurTech. And I mean, I wish you were here, the way she explained it. They actually started this whole thing in consultation with the farmers. So I think maybe another point should be, when you are, I think you have already alluded to it too, but when you are having your ideas, when you are creating your solutions, you should, your design thinking should embed the people that you are, the farmers' perspectives, or whoever you are designing the solution for. You should get their perspective, so you'll be able to know, is this a need I'm just making up in my head out of la la land, or this is actually a real need that people have, that farmers have. And not just that it's a real need, that they will be able to use this solution that I'm presenting for them, just like Madam Lucy has said. I mean, if you are saying you want to use a mobile app, can you guarantee first that at least the farmers that you are working with, or whichever population you are working with, can they use mobile phone? Right? Some people can use mobile phone, some people can. There are some rural areas you get to, and it's not so bad. The internet works quite well. It's not so bad. But in a situation like this, I also know of someone that what they do instead, when they see that people are not using smartphone, what they instead do is now to build their solution around SMS, text 333 to something, something, something. When you text 33 to 221, you get this. And so, so people that don't even have smartphone can then use your solution. So I think what I would just emphasize on is I think, I don't know if it's called system-based design thinking, but your design should really incorporate the point of view, should incorporate the people you are making the solution for at the beginning. I don't know if, I mean, I'm not a specialist in agriculture, but I don't know if Madam Lucy agrees with that or wants to say something more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called human-centered design. It's design
Yes.
thinking, user-centered design. It's real. And we also have to be very honest, even when and have very deep understanding of even the customers, or the end users, because I've seen farmers will tell you yes, 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 especially when you're an outsider to their community. They'll tell you, yes, maybe we will use this product, it is very good, we will pay for it. But when you finally put it in the market, then then you have no takers. So you have to be very, very, you have to really understand that end user in very deep ways.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Mother Lucy. It's been quite insightful so far, and from the start to finish, what we need as youths who are looking into agriculture, leveraging technology in agriculture has been real out so far, and I think this last point is just more like hitting the nail on the head. It captures it all, that there's need for us to have focus on human-centered thinking before we can even begin to leverage agriculture, because there's tech around, but it has to fit into the need of those we are serving, and that's very important. And I can assure you, with just a few experience in the B2B and fintech space, that's exactly what is helping that space raise a lot of money. People need their product, and so that's why money is really flowing into that sector. So also, if we can really focus on that, I believe that it's also going to open up this sector for external funding and then scaling in the end. I don't know if any person has a question before we close this session. Any other person has a question at all? If we do, we can just one or two, and then we wrap up this session. Anyone at all? I'm not seeing any question in the chat box. So anybody wants to speak? Okay. So I want to believe that we have learned a lot from this session, and more importantly is how we begin to practicalize some of these things as we attempt to build solutions, especially in the agricultural sector. And I know that in the end, our vision to make Africa a sustainable continent will surely come to pass. And also, please, let's not forget that there will be a feedback form that will be shared in the end. Let us do well to engage with the form, and then let's get our feedback from how the conference has gone so far, and we'd love to also improve on some things that you would suggest to us. So please do well to go to our chat box and then get to locate the feedback form, fill it, and then we'd love to hear from you.